Okay, Assalamu alaikum, and today we are going to discuss another topic of our class, which is related to the life life of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him. And this topic is related to paper one, the biography of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him. And one of the major question which is related to this topic is about his early life. They asked this question in their NCI exam at least twice or thrice. Give an account about the life of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, up until the first revelation. Okay, the first revelation to the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. They have asked such type of questions in the
सर
in
आप क्या कह रहे हैं आवाज डिस्ट्रैक्ट हो रही थी
whether it is clear now that we are going to
जी
discuss the topic of the life of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him. Okay, his life in Makkah, and this topic is related to paper 1 of our Islamiyat syllabus. Okay, so we are going to discuss this topic, and the major question is about the life of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, up until the first revelation received by the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So we are going to discuss this question. Fine. Here you will divide your answer into different paragraphs, and in the first paragraph you have to write about. You have to first focus on his birth and his upbringing, the way he was brought up, and the way he was. Okay, talk about his birth. First of all, what you have to mention, that Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, was born in 12th of Rabiul Awwal. He was born in Banu Hashim, okay, in Makkah, on Monday, 12th of Rabiul Awwal. Okay, you can mention because this is the famous one. Some sources mention it is the 9th of Rabiul Awwal. So you can write either 9th of Rabiul Awwal or you can write 12th of Rabiul Awwal. Both are acceptable. Okay, you should mention that it was the year of elephant, Amul Feel. Fine. You have to mention that he was born in the year Amul Feel. Amul Feel means the year of elephant. Why? Because the same year Abraha, okay, he tried to destroy Kaaba with the forces of elephants. Yes, Arham.
अस्सलाम सर मैंने पूछना था कि ये जो टॉपिक है ये हम लाइफ एंड इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ प्रॉफिट सल्लम से कर रहे हैं
Yes, this is life and importance of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, that we have started. Okay, this is
ठीक है
related to paper one.
और
So, what I told you that first of all talk about his birth, that he was born on 12th of Rabiul Awwal, 571. Okay, that was the year of elephant, the Amul Feel. Okay, Prophet peace upon him was born in the same year when Abraha, he failed to attack on Kaaba. He tried to attack on Kaaba and he tried to destroy it with the forces with the elephants, but Allah has protected his house with just small birds named Ababil. He protected his house with Ababil. Holy Prophet peace be upon him was born in the same year. It was 570, 571. Okay, talk about it and talk about the way he was brought up. You can say that he was born to Hazrat Amina, the Prophet's mother. His father Abdullah, he died few months before his birth. You should mention it in your answer that he was born to Amina. Okay, and his father was Abdullah. His father died few months before his birth. Okay, and he died in Yasrib and he was buried there. Prophet peace be upon him was named Muhammad. He was named Muhammad by his grandfather, and he was named Ahmad by his mother. His mother named him Ahmad, and his grandfather named him Muhammad. So this is a brief introduction when you write about the life of the Holy Prophet, peace upon him, when he was born, and you have to mention that according to the custom and according to the tradition of Arabia, Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, was sent along with a Bedouin woman named Suwaiba. Okay, he was suckled. She suckled him. Okay, the child was sent along with Halima. She was first suckled by Suwaiba. Suwaiba was a slave girl of Abu Lahab. ठीक है, सबसे पहले उनको फीड किसने किया? द स्लेव गर्ल ऑफ अबू लहब, सुवैबा. And secondly, he was suckled by Halima Sadiya. So it was their general custom. It was a custom in the Arabs that they used to send their infants, their suckling infants, their children to the wet nurse with the Bedouin women, so that they might grow up in the healthy and healthy environment and a healthy surrounding, and they would acquire a pure speech and manner. Their language would become very much pure, away from the life of the city. So that is why Prophet peace upon him was sent along with Halima Sadiya. Okay, this is what you have to mention in your answer, that Prophet peace upon him was sent along with Halima Sadiya, and Halima Sadiya noticed so much of Allah's blessings in her house. Prophet peace upon him later on cherished that he was brought up, okay, in the house of that that he is from Quraysh. He is the most perfect Arab. Why? Because his descent is from Quraysh and his tongue is of Banu Saad. You can mention and you can quote in your answer that I am the most perfect Arab among you. Why? Because my descent is from Quraysh and my tongue is of Banu Saad. So Holy Prophet peace upon him was brought up, okay, under the care of Halima Sadi, and she observed so much miracles, so much of Allah's blessings in her house. Okay, she noticed the blessings in her family, in her belongings, in her everything, whatever she had. Prophet peace upon him was given to Halima Sadiya initially for 2 years or 2.5 years maximum, because this is the proper age of, okay, the infant. Okay, they used to give their infant for a period of 2.5 years. So Prophet peace upon him was given to Halima Sadiya for that period. And when that period was over, she brought the Prophet Muhammad peace be upon him back, and she wanted that Prophet peace upon him should stay with her for another term, for another 2 or 2.5 years. So she begged and she requested the Prophet's mother, Hazrat Amna, and she accepted it. She accepted her request, and Prophet peace upon him was given to Halima Sadiya for another term. Okay, so this is all what you have to mention in the initial, in the first paragraph of your answer. And here you also have to mention that a strange incident happened when Prophet peace upon him was with Halima Sadiya. What happened, that two angels came when he was 4 years of his age. Jibrail came down, they ripped his chest open and took out his heart and extracted a extracted a black clot from it, saying that this was the part of Satan in you. But he said that that was the part of Satan in you. He removed that black clot from his heart, okay, and he cleaned it and he washed it with water, with Zamzam, okay, and then he placed the heart back to its place. And then the other boys who were playing nearby, they narrated the whole incident to Halima Sadiya. And Halima Sadiya got too much worried about it, and she got too much scared of this incident, and she returned him back to Amina. Okay, so this is what that you have to that you have to mention all in the first paragraph of your answer, that how the Prophet peace about his birth and the way he was brought up. This is how the Prophet peace upon him came back to his mother when he was about 4 years old. Okay, I hope it is clear. Prophet peace upon him stayed with his mother for about 2 years, and when he was 6 years old, he went along with his mother to visit Yasrib, Medina. Fine. In respect to the memory of her late husband, Amna decided to visit his grave in Yasrib, and she decided to meet her relatives there, and she stayed there for a month about. And while she was returning back to Makkah, on the way she fell ill and she died at Abwa. Okay, Abwa, you have to mention that she was buried in Abwa in your answer. Okay, so this is the particular place where she died and she was buried. And Ayman, the slave girl, she brought the Prophet peace upon him back to Makkah. Abdul Muttalib took the responsibility, who was his grandfather, loved him more than his own sons. Okay, and he would place and he would sit at a specific place which was reserved for Abdul Muttalib only, and there was no one allowed to sit except for the Prophet peace be upon him. Okay, Prophet peace upon him used to play there, but this not lasted long, and Abdul Muttalib died 2 years later when the Prophet peace upon him was just 8 years old. But before his death, he handed over the responsibility of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to his son Abu Talib, the Prophet's uncle. The Prophet's real uncle, in a sense, that Abu Talib and Abdullah, they were brothers. They were real brothers, and they were the brothers from the same mother. Fine. So Abu Talib took the charge of his nephew, and this is how he was brought up at that time. And Prophet, peace upon him, was later on mentioned in the Holy Quran about this support, that did he not find you an orphan and he gave you shelter. Holy Prophet, peace upon him, was an orphan and he was in need of support, and Prophet, peace upon him, was brought up by his uncle Abu Talib. Okay, so first of all, you have to mention the initial details in the first paragraph. The first paragraph would be about the way he was born and he was brought up and his stay with Halima Sadia. In the second paragraph, you can talk about his stay, his visit to Yasrib along with his mother, okay, Amina, and then the way he was brought up by his grandfather and his love of grandfather till his age of 8, and after his death, after the death of the grandfather, Prophet, peace upon him, was under the care of his uncle Abu Talib, and you can quote this verse in it. Okay, so Prophet, peace upon him, went along with his uncle Abu Talib on a trade journey to Syria when he was 12 years old. When the Prophet was 12 years old, Abu Talib went on a trade journey, on a business trip to Syria, and they went as far as Basra, and where they met a Christian monk named Bahira. Okay, Bahira noticed the prophetic signs in the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Fine, and he recognized him through the prophetic signs. And what he mentioned, that he said that this is the chief of the world, and God has sent him as a mercy for the whole mankind. What were the remarks of Bahira about the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him? उन्होंने कहा कि this is the chief of the world and God has sent him as a mercy for the whole mankind. And whatever signs that he has noticed, that he noticed the trees bowing and the rocks prostrating. Okay, when he came this side of the pass, stones and trees bowed in prostration, and they did not prostrate for anyone other than a prophet. And moreover, he recognized him from the seal of the prophet. He recognized the Prophet, peace upon him, from the seal of the prophethood, which lies like an apple on the soft bone below his shoulder. And it is mentioned in their scriptures that these are the signs of the last prophet. So he held a feast, khane ka arrangement kiya. He held a feast in the honor of this trade caravan, and he advised Abu Talib not to take him far into Syria because Jews will recognize him and they will try to harm him. Fine. So this is how Abu Talib quickly sold his goods and he returned back to Makkah. Okay, so on his advice, Abu Talib went back to Makkah. Okay, this is what you can mention about the trade journey and his meeting with Bahira in this paragraph, in the third paragraph. Then you can later on talk about further more details in the next paragraph. You can talk about his participation in Harb al-Fijar and the truce which was signed afterwards, Half al-Fuzul. Okay, Battle of Fijar broke out when Prophet, peace upon him, was about 14 to 15 years of his age. You can mention this war was broke out, okay, between the two tribes. So Quraysh and Kinana were on one side, okay, and Qais on the other side. Okay, some sources mention that it started between Quraysh and Banu Hawazim, and some sources mention that Quraysh and Kinana on one side, Prophet was from Quraysh, and Qais, Qays, Qais on the other side. The fighting was very much furious and it lasted for long, and several people from both sides, they were killed and they lost their lives. Fine. Prophet, peace upon him, played an important role, and what he did, that he collected the arrows, and this war came to be known as Harb al-Fijar because it was fought in the month in which war was considered forbidden. Fine. But at last, okay, finally, it was fought at the fair of Okaz in the month of Zulqa'dah. Okay, in the fair of Okaz. Okay, and lastly and finally, they decided to end the battle, end the war, and a truce was signed, a pact was signed to avoid such type of battles in future. Okay, it was known as the sacrilegious war because it continued even in the months in which fighting was unlawful, the sacred months. Okay, so at the end, when the war concluded, people felt the need of the truce at Makkah to avoid such type of um events in future. Fine. So you can mention a covenant was signed upon among the 5 tribes of Quraysh. It is known as Half al-Fuzul, the truce of Fuzul. Okay, so it was signed between Banu Hashim, Banu Abdul Muttalib, Banu Asad, Banu Zahra, and Banu Taim. Okay, so you can mention these names that between the 5 major tribes of Arabia, and they all gathered in the house of Abdullah bin Judan. Fine, clear? So they gathered in the house of Abdullah bin Judan. Zubair bin Abdul Muttalib, it was due to the efforts of Zubair bin Abdul Muttalib, okay, that Prophet peace upon him was also there, and this pact was signed that they will fight against the oppressor and they will support the oppressed one. They will support the oppressed one and they will fight against the oppressor. So you can mention this as a reference that I witnessed this. Uh, he was present in the house of Abdullah bin Judan at this pact in the house of Abdullah bin Judan. It was more appealing to me than the herd of cattle, the herd of red camels. Even now, in the period of Islam, I would respond positively to attending such a meeting if I were invited. With these words, Prophet peace upon him later on remarked that I was present in the house of Abdullah bin Judan, and so noble pact it was that I will not change my part. I would not accept even a red camel in lieu of it. Okay, had I been asked to uphold it even in the days of Islam, I would have agreed. Fine. So in this paragraph, he will talk about his participation, his role in the Battle of Fijar, and Halful Fuzul. Okay, you have to write about it. Then you can talk about, in the next paragraph, you can talk about his early profession, that earlier he worked as a trader. Okay, he earlier worked as a shepherd. They all worked as a shepherd earlier, and later on he worked as a trader. So Prophet peace upon him earlier worked as a shepherd, and he used to tend the sheeps, okay, and the goats of the Makkans on some return. Tirat. Tirat was the currency at the time. So he used to graze there and he used to tend their sheep, and they were paying him some small amount. But later on, he worked as a trader since he was known by the title Sadiq and Al Amin, the truthful and the trustworthy. And then, along with that, you can connect it with the marriage with Khadija Radhiyallahu Ta'ala anha, that at the age of 25, he went for a trade for Khadija Radhiyallahu Ta'ala anha because she was in search of an honest person to look after her business. She sent her slave, her servant Maisara. Khadija sent her servant or her slave Maisara with him to observe his dealings and to help him. So on his return, he praised his character and honesty, honest dealing. Okay, and whatever Khadija Radhiyallahu Ta'ala anha has noticed, the fair dealing and the honesty and the character of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, okay, she offered him more reward, more profit as compared to which she was giving it to the other people. She was that much impressed with the honesty that she decided to send a marriage proposal. The proposal was sent through her friend Nafisa. Khadija sent a marriage proposal through her friend Nafisa, and Prophet was 25 and Khadija was 40 at that time. Fine, they both got married. And marriage proved very successful, and Prophet peace upon him had 2 sons and 4 daughters from this marriage. Clear? Then you can talk about that it was due to this marriage that Prophet peace upon him was free from the financial burden. He was getting time to focus and to go for solitude and to go for the meditation in the cave of Hira. He started, so when he was 30. But before that, another incident happened that you should mention, that it was the dispute over the fixing of the black stone. Fine, so it was at that time that the building of Kaaba was damaged. It was due to the rains, and earlier it was damaged due to the fire earlier. So due to the devastating floods that damaged the Kaaba, okay, and the walls of the Kaaba had been weakened by a fire earlier, and the flood caused the additional cracks to form. So this is due to the reason the structure it was very much badly affected, and Quraysh decided to rebuild it. Okay, Quraysh was in danger of the collapse of this building. Fine, so that is why they decided to rebuild the Holy Kaaba. Okay, and for that purpose, they collected the halal and the pure part of their income. Okay, and they contributed equally. They distributed different tasks among different tribes, and the tribe of the Prophet peace upon him, Banu Hashim, they brought the rocks from the nearby mountains. Prophet himself participated in the rebuilding of the Holy Kaaba. But when the time came to fix the black stone to its particular place, its particular point, there arose a dispute. Fine. And you can also mention that that definitely before rebuilding Holy Kaaba, they had to dismantle it and they have to demolish it. But no one, since they had very high respect and a very high um regard and very high respect for this building, that nobody was willing to take the step to start destroying it. Walid bin Mughira was the first person who started demolishing it. ठीक है, वलीद बिन मुगैरा पहला शख्स था जिसने उसको उसको तोड़ना शुरू किया. Other people they waited. Okay, he began to dismantle the walls of the Kaaba, and when he had done so, and no harm touched him, and when he remained untouched by the divine wrath, divine displeasure, so other people also joined him in this task, and they demolished it, and they took part in the rebuilding of the Holy Kaaba. The construction went well. Okay, as I told you that they participated. Okay, and when the time came to fix the black stone, there arose a dispute. They hired a Roman mason named Bakum for the construction of the walls. Fine. Muhammad peace upon him, Holy Prophet peace upon him, and his uncle, they were among those who were carrying the stones from a nearby mountains on their back. When the building was complete, okay, and the time came to fix the black stone to its particular place, there arose a dispute. Everyone wanted to take this honor, and everyone wanted that this should go to their tribe. Okay, and they were ready to fight with one another for that. The crisis continued for 4 to 5 days, and the bloodshed was imminent, that it was unavoidable. Then, at that time, a wise person, Abu Umayyah, okay, the oldest among them, okay, he found a solution to the problem, and he suggested that the next man who entered the gate of Kaaba should be given the authority to settle the dispute. Okay, what he decided and what he suggested, that he suggested the next man to enter the gate of the Kaaba should be given the authority to settle the dispute, and everyone agreed to this suggestion. Okay, this was not the next morning. This is the same time, at the same time when they were all discussing the issue and they were all talking about that issue. So he suggested that the next man who entered the gate of the Kaaba should be given the authority to settle the dispute, and everyone agreed to that point. And they all started looking at the gate, the door, the entrance. Okay, and it was the will of Allah that the next man who entered the gate was the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Fine. So when they saw the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, coming from the other side towards the gate, so they all said, "This is Muhammad. This is Muhammad." When they saw him, as soon as they saw him coming towards the gate, so what they said, "It is Muhammad. Since he is trustworthy, we all agree to abide by his decision." Okay, so Prophet peace upon him entered first. Okay, and they all agreed to accept his decision. So when the Prophet peace upon him learned the details of the dispute, he asked them to bring a sheet. Okay, and he then placed the black stone on the sheet with his own hand, and he asked them to bring a sheet and to hold the corners of the sheet. Okay, he asked each clan to take hold of the edge of the sheet and lift it to. They all should lift it together and put it to the place. Took it to the place where it was to be fixed. Holy Prophet, peace upon him, pushed it into the place where it was to be fixed with his own hands, and everyone was satisfied with the Prophet, peace upon him's decision, and a great conflict was averted. Okay, this shows his wisdom and this shows his ability to lead the community and to solve their issues. So this is what you have to discuss in your answer. So that was all about the major events of the life of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, from his birth up until he received the first revelation. So first of all, what we mentioned, we talked about birth and upbringing. Okay, till the time Prophet, peace upon him, was with Halima Sadiya Razilullah Ta'ala anha. Then we discussed his journey towards Yathrib, death of his mother, death of his grandfather, and that he came in the care under the care of his uncle Abu Talib. This all could be mentioned in first paragraph up until he came into the care of his uncle Abu Talib. Then afterwards, talk about the two major things in the second paragraph. Okay, you can talk about Harb al-Fijar and Half al-Fuzul in the same paragraph. That would be the second paragraph. In the third paragraph, talk about, but before that, you have to talk about trade journey to Syria and meeting with Bahira. Okay. Second paragraph would be about his uncle Abu Talib and his trade journey to Syria and meeting with Bahira would be the second paragraph. Third paragraph would be about the the Harb al-Fijar and the Half al-Fuzul. In the fourth paragraph, talk about his early profession and his marriage with Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha. Fine. Clear? And in the fifth paragraph, talk about the fixing of the black stone in your answer. So that is the overall outline, the way you have to write the answer. Okay, you have to know that how much details that you have to give. Okay, to what extent you have to explain your answer. ठीक है, कितनी डिटेल देनी है, कहाँ तक की बात करनी है. So this will be, you would be able to know by writing the answer. It should not be more than 2.5 pages. Maximum 2 to 2.5 pages you can write for such type of questions. So I hope it is clear and you are able to write such type of questions for your paper also.